I've been getting advice from top-level players, having in-depth coaching sessions, and practicing every mechanic I possibly can. So today, I'm taking a break. Today, Squid and I are going to play 5 Ganondorf Dittos at 200 buffer. That is more than a full second in between when I press a button and when it actually happens. In the meantime, I'll be asking him some questions to get to know him better. How you doing today, Squid?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm ready.
Oh my god. How do I... Oh, this is...
The first step of 200 buffer Ganon Dittos is seeing how quickly they pick Ganon. That's when you know they're screwed.
Alright. No. Watch this.
Watch this.
Let me reset to normal position. Hold on. And then watch this.
Oh, that was close.
It was close. I drifted a little too high there. I mean, I guess this is a good way to play with someone from California. Yeah, honestly, you could probably play someone from like Southern Africa and it wouldn't matter because you're at 200 buffer.
Yeah, see, 200 buffer Ganon Dittos have 2 benefits. Number 1 is you can play anyone in the world. And number 2 is that it's the most cerebral form of melee.
Are you trying to suggest that it actually takes intelligence?
It takes an absurd amount of intelligence, and we will see that the better player wins every game.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you your first question as we go into the first game.
Okay.
So, last year you somewhat randomly decided to start playing Peach competitively, and it seems like your tournament results were much worse than usual as a result. Now, obviously by now you've learned your lesson about that character, but would you say that it was a positive or negative experience overall?
Oh, shit. Yeah, so playing Peach was definitely more of an experiment. It kind of like was taking a break, but just doing it while learning a different character. I didn't like... My results definitely got worse, but they weren't like awful, and I started picking up like ranked wins by the end of it, and like... So she's like kind of alright. Definitely worse than like if I had just continued playing my main the entire time, but... Oh, big combos.
What is this? I still don't even actually know which one I am. I think I'm the red one. Right?
Down beat. Yeah. You're in the corner.
Oh my God.
That was huge.
This is insane. Oh, jump.
Oh yeah, they never recover right the first time. That's huge.
Yeah, I gotta like, the moment that I know that I'm going off stage, I have to do the recover. I wonder if you can wave dash. Oh shit, it's possible. I just teched by accident. Insane.
Insane.
I'm too good. This is insane. Oh God, careful there.
Yeah.
It's definitely more than a second.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like turn-based melee, you know?
Oh my God. Okay, so what were you saying about Peach? I'm sorry, I'm just in shock about what we're doing.
So Peach is now my best secondary, and 200 buffer Ganon is my second best secondary. Oh, big anti-air.
So you do plan on still using Peach as a secondary?
Yeah, so not really, actually. I never, like, thought that Falco wasn't good enough or anything, and I think that both, like, my meme tier list, which is, like, actually pretty serious, is that, like, the top 7 characters are all tied. So, I have Peach and Falco both able to beat everyone, like, so it was really more just about, like, learning something, because it was, like, so foreign to me. Like, I'd play Peach, and it kind of made sense against Spaceys, because, like, I play Spaceys, and I've seen her do it. But like learning Peach versus Sheik or Peach versus Marth was like brand new. So, all right, these side Bs.
So it was just a.
Oh my God!
I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. So it was just a generally like a positive learning experience to understand the game better, rather than something you're actually trying to equip for.
Right, exactly. And I think that like way down in the future there might be a world where where like I pick her up for a certain matchup or something. Probably not, but like. Maybe, you know?
What matchup would that be? What matchup can you see your Peach winning?
So I have this theory that floaties are better against players that you're better than. And the example I use is like, so you know how Mango lost to Magi? And he lost that set in like 7 or 8 minutes or something. And my theory is that like a player of Mango or Armada's caliber can like solve someone worse than them in about like 10 to 15 minutes every time. But the set ended in 8 minutes, you know? But Peach can just make every set last 10 to 15 minutes. So,
so you
it's
have
not
time
about, like,
to figure out the other person.
Yeah. So it's just against a player that I'm pretty sure I'm better than, but need 10 minutes to figure him out. That's when Peach is the right choice.
Interesting.
Oh, classic.
I'm gonna kill myself for it. The recoveries are so difficult.
I'm schmoovin'.
Recoveries are so. I feel like I've done way more damage to you than you've done to me, though. I also am just spamming side B. What? What are these mechanics?
Oh, stomp.
I don't think a stomp would be possible to pull off.
No! Oh good.
Oh.
Up tilt's actually unreactable in this mode. Oh, brutal.
So, you teach Melee in a ton of different ways, from having what I believe is probably the most upvoted Falco guide on the Melee subreddit to actually doing lessons. So what do you think is the hardest concept to get across to a new player, and why? Because as a new player myself, a lot of what people say to me is that I don't ask specific enough questions because Melee has too many in-depth things to, like, I don't know, pick a thing and talk about. So what do you feel is a hard thing to explain to new players?
So I think a lot of times the hardest thing is not actually Melee specific. I think like it's a little overblown how hard it is to learn Melee. It's like kind of the same as learning any other competitive activity. I find that like people who have done something else oh shit.
Woo, let's go.
Not looking like a seasoned pro. I also really don't agree with the sentiment that like you have to ask really specific questions, because in my experience, if you know what the specific question is, then you can find the answer on your own. Like the people who need help are the ones who don't know what questions to ask, and that's like just as hard as actually finding the answers. So I actually don't mind at all when people give vague answers and or vague questions, and then I'll help them direct to more specific questions like in my answer. So people will be like, how do I fight Sheik? I feel like I can't go in, and that's like way too vague or something. But then I'm like, okay, well, you have to look at her, like what moves she's using, here's her forward tilt and stuff, and how to space around it. And then it kind of like start to like, oh, I think I thought I was you there.
Yep,
So,
you definitely killed yourself there.
that's the class. I thought you killed yourself. And I was like, ha ha ha. But yeah, and then so it's like largely stuff like, sometimes the most important thing is just like motivational stuff and like confidence stuff, like making sure they know they can do it. And then the actual like the mechanics of the game is just like, there's a million things to learn for sure, but if you just take it one step at a time, you'll get there. Ooh, these side Bs are brutal.
It's just spamming side B. I'm glad you say that, because the majority of criticism I get from viewers is that my questions are way too general and I'm not going to learn anything unless I actually like look into things and try and figure out specifics.
Right, yeah. So I think that like it's good to have a goal of getting to specific questions. Oh, dash back forward smash. It's good to like have a goal of getting to specific questions, but realizing that like if you're not there yet, like that's fine too, right? Like I think that like you're asking questions that are too vague, knowing that like their answers will help direct you a little bit more in the future, you know? So
fair enough. Yeah, I always like, I don't know, I felt like the questions I asked were having me learn things, but the main criticism I'm getting is that I'm not learning anything because of the way I'm asking questions. So...
yeah, I think that you also have to like take criticism with a grain of salt. Like everyone thinks they know the right way to like get good or whatever, but the truth is that like everyone who's really gotten really good has done it their own way, in a way that like has never been done before, you know? So when everyone thinks that like, oh, this is exactly what you have to do to get better, you have to ask the exact specific question and then blah blah blah, and it's like, well, you can kind of do whatever is true to you, you know? Like whatever ends up working for you is what's going to work for you. So I can't believe I'm getting taunted and 200 buffer Ganondorf.
So would you say then, obviously not an ideal way to learn the game, but would you say playing against every top 100 player in order is a reasonable way to try and get better?
Yeah, I think so. I think like
shit.
if you
I'm insane.
I think if anything, like, I can't believe, I thought everyone would just miss the tech off the down throw. Oh, nice. That's even better. Yeah, I think a reasonable takeaway from like this project, right, would just be that you've talked to 100 players who have been successful and kind of like learn how they think a little bit more, and you can kind of shift like your own competitive mentality based on like, okay, well, most top 100 players have a view that like oh my god, that was close. But yeah, most top 100 players have a view like view competition this way or try to get better this way or something like that, and that'll be more useful than being like this top 100 player taught me that you can tech for 20 frames and get locked out for 40 frames, you know? Like, that type of shit, like, you'll get eventually no matter what, right? But it's like the mindset of competition is what, like, I think you're trying to get from these players.
Oh. Ooh.
Oh!
I'm
power
insane.
shield.
I'm insane. I timed it perfectly, knowing the buffer, predicting it.
Oh, big dash attack.
I feel like tilt is the only way either of us die on this stage in this matchup. It seems like the only way anything ever happens, or just enough side
get
Bs.
me out of here.
Oh
Yeah, I think the plan is just gonna be go near the edge and wait for you to side B off.
Oh, I ain't doing it. I'm playing careful. I'm playing careful. Don't you worry. What is that?
Oh, too careful.
I did not input that.
You must have done it 10 seconds ago. You just forgot.
Oh, that one took extra time. That one had to go to Russia and back, so that one took a little while to input. I see.
Right.
So a documentary was posted in April of 2016 called 60 Frames, featuring you, Kenji Hugs, and it has amassed over 200,000 views, approaching 300,000. So not to say that you were like anywhere near irrelevant. Obviously, you said you were ranked at the time, but how do you end up being in a project like that when, I don't know, it just seems like there's a lot of big creators and it seems somewhat random?
Right. So actually, that project was like, it was very unexpected how well it did. It was actually just one of my friends. He was a documentary student at Chapman. And that was his documentary film thesis for school or whatever. So he was not at all someone known in the Smash community he had never done Melee content before. And this was just like a school project he was doing. And then it ended up like blowing up and doing really well. And so I kind of just got lucky that like I knew someone in film school, which is why I got to work on this project. And then like the premise for it was he get one top level, one mid level, one low level player, and I just happened to be the mid level player, so I was like the right skill level to be there at the time, while Hugs was like the top level player at the time.
Wait, Kenji was the low level player?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, right.
Imagine asking someone to be in the documentary as your low level player.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of fun. I don't know if you've seen it, but like to get the perspective of like someone who's trying to make it out of pools and then he like barely doesn't or something, and then it cuts to like the guy who makes it out of pools but tries to win the next round, and then I barely don't, then it cuts to like Hugs, you know, playing in winter semis or something at the tournament. It's like
I do feel like I'm getting more cerebral. Is
that's what I'm saying, dude. It's all about yeah.
I'm reading your movements before you do them because I have to. I have no choice.
Yeah, see, now when you play regular Melee, you're gonna try to read the movement before they happen. You're gonna be like way too slow, you know, but
we shall see. Well, we're gonna play.
That's what I'm saying. Or you're just gonna see the future from now on. See, I've always thought that down B was the broken like forward moving move, and you've been using side B a lot.
I have not used down B once, because that requires me to be in the air and then hit the button, and that's too much of a combo for this buffer.
You use down B on the ground. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, what?
Oh, baited.
When he tells you what to do and you just do it, holy shit, I'm dumb.
Lesson 1, don't trust your enemy.
I had that exact experience against Rocky. Rocky's like trying to teach me how to get back on stage, and he's like, you should snap to ledge here, and I'm like, but then you know I'm gonna try and snap to ledge.
Right.
I ain't walking off, don't worry. I almost did. Ain't happening.
Big back air.
That's bad. That's bad. Yeah.
Insane timing.
Goodbye. Insane timing. All part of a plan.
Can you cover spot dodges?
Can I cover spot dodges? Yeah, watch this. I'm gonna grab your ass.
Oh my god, you grab for the platform. Oh! Dash dance grab. Oh shit.
Yeah, okay.
Oh!
I'm insane.
Oh, that's big. That's big. The 40% gimp.
Comes to last stock again. I've never been able to finish it off, but this will be the time.
You know what they say about Squid's last stock and 200 buffer Ganon Dittos, though? That's the hardest one to close out.
Is there really someone who said that besides you?
I mean, do you need more than one?
Well, you said they. And I'm just wondering who has said that.
They, them.
Okay. Jesus. Can never close out the last stock. I feel like you're a back half Andy. Do very well in the last half.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for whatever the fuck that was.
That was an experience.
It's your turn to plug what you've got going on. Twitter, Twitch, whatever you want people viewing to go to.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Squid's Laugh. I post pretty much only Melee stuff and a lot of educational stuff. If you're interested in Melee lessons, as you can see from this, that I have very cerebral content. I have a Patreon, which the link is on my Twitter, so just follow me on Twitter at Squid's Laugh. I think everything else is on my Twitter, so it's probably the only thing you need to follow.
All right.
Yep.
Well, thank you for joining me. That was creative.
That was very fun.
I don't have a better word.
Yeah.